this is Ayana, and welcome to Everything Grows, where we talk about growing from where we are. So today I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and get on here by myself and get into the reasons that I actually started this channel and started having these conversations. So today I asked myself in my journaling or in my prayer, am I proud of myself? And this has been a thing over the last couple of weeks, months, years that I've been trying to understand and think like, am I proud of myself? Am I proud of what I'm putting out into the world? Am I proud of the energy that I'm putting out? And honestly, I realized that I'm really not that proud of what the majority of my energy is going towards. So this is something that I would like my energy to go towards, creating more art for myself, doing more tarot and all these other things. And I realized like, okay, I've really been making decisions out of if this is aligned with this person or if this is aligned with that person, making decisions based off of other people, not really making decisions based off of myself, knowing that I have different skills, knowing that I have so many skills to do so good in so many different places. But with that, at the same token, it's like, all right, you've done all of these things. So for instance, I know that I've wanted to work within my network. So I've worked for every single company that has supported me or helped raise me in that way. So it companies, I mean schools, not really companies, it's like organizations is probably a better word. And a lot of my life I realized that it has been focused on what I can put out or present or how smart I can show that I am. And I realized even with me going into college, the root you'll see that you might be guided towards something else, but what you're really interested in or what you really want to do is somewhere in between or somewhere in the shadows of it. So I went to school originally for social work, and then it changed to behavioral science. And I realized how important it was for me to understand behavioral science and understand how our minds work. And it was mainly because of me and my own personal decision making and how I just felt like a lot of times I was in the world alone. So I wanted to understand what part of me, one, made me feel like I wasn't worthy of um experiencing more. I wasn't worthy of, and that's those are things that have been broken down to now, where I've done enough work, or as people say, shadow work, or enough reflection to understand that there was an issue in the way that I valued myself, that was reflected in relationships, that was reflected in relationships with others, as in like my dating life. I'm only 27, and I love to say only. I think when I'm 50, I might be like, I'm only 50. But it's because I still feel so young. I don't feel older yet. I still feel young. But I do feel wiser. And that's the biggest thing. I've always known what it is to be what it means to be, kind to someone else. But I realized that my kindness kind of extended further than just being kind. It extended towards people pleasing. It extended towards, again, self-sacrificing behavior. And that's why I choose to use the word self-support in the things that we decide to do. So I wanted to have this conversation today to talk about self-support through behavioral science that leads to decision making. So I'll get to my different points, but I wanted to start off with my thought process and how I've kind of gotten to this point of doing this work. And it was mainly because I knew what it felt like to not feel like, I'm getting a little emotional, but I knew what it felt like not to feel good about myself. I know what it feels like not to feel good about myself, but I also know what it feels like to be on the other side of that and feel a whole lot better about myself and the decisions that I'm making, the spaces that I'm in. And I think that I have learned that I have been in spaces far too long, not because of I did not realize that I wasn't in a space to do anything about it. It was just more so I was afraid kind of to do something about it, or I wanted to think to myself like, oh, I don't know what this would be like if I didn't have this person around, or I didn't know what this would be like if I didn't accept this opportunity, or didn't put myself in this situation. And as I look back and I realize how much I have given my free will away, and I see that in other spaces and other people. Y'all know we have so many conversations online about God knows what. We have so many different conversations, but I think that the most important thing is to learn your voice through these conversations. Understand where's your, as we say, critical thinking. Where's your thinking? What do you actually think? What do you actually feel about this? And then to come to this point now where I'm about to be a new age. Of course, we all want to do better, but I think it's also got to do with that frontal lobe developing, going into different things like astrology, when we talk about Saturn return and all of these other things, to bring it to a culmination, to a point where you have to live differently, or you decide to live differently. I feel like for myself, I've been deciding to live differently for years. I really, I think I got a good hold on my realizing the kind of power that I have in my decisions when when I moved out. So back in 2021, I moved out on my own. And that was probably one of the biggest decisions that I made for myself. When I was growing up, I even thought about college being a decision. It's like, yes, I did it, but I also know that someone told me that beforehand, you should be going to college. You need to go to college. You're smart enough to be in college. Or like my middle school, where we had classes, and our classes were named after different universities or different colleges. And I think, like, as you go up, of course, if you don't stay on the path, or you are someone like me who has many different interests, but you don't really necessarily know what path you want to go on, it's important to learn about your personal decision making. It's important to, as we say, me and my best friend, we were talking about recently how we can plan out our year to pull ourselves through the year. We could plan out different things, and that's how you get yourself to the next point, by making a decision. So, for instance, when you make I don't know, somebody's getting married. That's a perfect. I just saw my big cousin. He got married last year, but I just saw him and his wife just bought a house. So that's a great example. So you have different plans, and you meet those goals, or there's things along the line. So he wanted to get the house, but he had to make different decisions, and his wife and him had to make different decisions. Or say, for instance, maybe they had a thing. We know the big thing with getting a house credit, or you have to have money to make a down payment. Those are all actionable steps that you have to make before you even get to making that decision be realized. But that's okay, because you are intentionally getting somewhere. It's when we make kind of mindless decisions, or we don't trust our intuition or trust ourselves to make these decisions, or we have maybe trauma, or we have again, fear, like I said before, or indecision. And indecision really just comes from not knowing. It comes from not understanding, or not really having a way of going about things. Another big thing, excuse me, with making different decisions for yourself moving forward is, what is in your atmosphere? What is in your space? So I'll go ahead and go into my talking point. So every decision shapes your future, big or small. And decision making is a tool that can be improved. So like I've been saying, you know from when you were younger, you made I don't want to say stupid, but you might have made stupid decisions, and now you look at decision making a completely different way. I know there's something that you can think about that you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to act like that, or I might not do that no more. I might not be in this space in this certain way because of what has been going on. So another big thing is decision fatigue. So we have a lot of like young parents who might have made a lot of decisions when the original decision that original decision that you made led to a lot of different decisions, but it's decision fatigue. So you can ask yourself, uh what is all going on, basically, and simplify your decisions to conserve your focus and willpower. So what that means is make it easy, keep it simple, don't think too hard. I was watching, I wish I knew his name, but we had TikTok University and Hillman talking all of that stuff. And there's a psychologist that's on there, and I'm there's a psychologist that does these classes on on TikTok. I was trying to find it, but I knew I wasn't going to find it fast enough. But he was talking about how when you make different decisions, then you can kind of take 5 seconds to make your decisions. So this gives you a pause to be able to collect yourself, or not even decisions. It makes you 5 seconds to respond, and that could be a small way of using your. Sorry, that's what he was talking about. Underthinking versus overthinking. And he was saying, like, a lot of us will say that we are overthinking, but it's really underthinking, because you might be thinking of all of the negative things that could happen in your life, all of the, oh my gosh. So I don't know, what's an example. I don't even know. But you can look, I'm trying to think, but you don't even know. But you think of all of the negatives and not necessarily the positive. And that's what he's saying more so is the overthinking. What is the best possible outcome that could come out of this? And that's another thing with training your mind and training your decision making. If you have not been able to make your own decisions for yourself, you will have an issue making decisions for yourself as an adult. If you are a parent and you have, look, I got real serious about that though. If you are a parent, I understand that a lot of parents don't want their kids to experience certain things. That's the same thing with every generation. If you have parents that care enough, or I don't want to say care too much, but it's a certain level of influence. I was about to say control, but some people get triggered by the word, but it's a certain level of influence that you can have on your children, that you can have on yourself, you can have over anybody that you are quote unquote responsible for until they are responsible for themselves. So as an adult, try to allow your children in your life, or teens in your life, or anybody that's younger than you, try to allow them to make their own decisions. Try to allow them to come to you. And sometimes that could be an issue where maybe some people step back too much, and then the person doesn't even feel, comfortable with asking you questions. And it just shows you how it's all connected. Every single thing is connected. The way that you raise your children, they talk about how the first 4 to 5 years are the most important years of a child's life, because I realized that through my little cousins. I've never all of my siblings, we are around the same age, as in we it's a 10-year span in between my mom was having kids. Let's put it like that. There's a 10-year span when my mom was having kids. My mom had myself and my older sister were 5 years apart. Me and my younger sister were 3 years apart. My younger sister and my younger brother are only 2 years apart. So I really did not get to see them growing up, as in understand, like, oh, therefore, like, what happens but my first cousin, she was born when I was in my freshman year of high school. Not freshman year of high school, freshman year of college. So I came back home to come see her when she was born. And as she got older, her sister is only a year apart from her. So they'll be the same way. It's really not too much of an influence on them, because they're kind of growing up as twins. That's the same thing as my younger brother, my younger sister. But maybe for my older sister, for example, she might understand a little bit better, because when I was about 4 or 5, she was like 10. So that brain is way more developed. Of course, she might still be getting into stuff, but she could see what a 4-year-old is actually doing. When I saw how my cousins were so developed at 4 years old, you don't realize the stages of childhood to adolescence and all of those different things until, or when I was learning about it when I was in college. But you don't see that until you actually see a child grow up. When it comes to even them that young being able to make decisions, or even thinking about how some parents might jump up at the sight of their child falling, and some parents look at their child and say, they good, they gonna get up. And it's like it's because there needs to be a balance. Of course, if somebody's hurt and they need, you console a child if they need that, like console the child. But that's also a problem with you and maybe your decision making if you were not consoled as a child. If you did not have that person to put their arms around you, or hold your face and tell you that they love you, you might not feel that comfortable doing that for somebody else. But then again, it's your choice and how you want to make that work. So if you feel like children are a perfect example, because they are so precious and we want to live them. But some kids, you got to see what's going on from that early age and check different behaviors or check different things that they have. And that's why it's so important, because once they get into that age range where they are socializing and they are communicating with other people, that's another step where they have to make decisions. when you as early as when they get into preschool and they in there biting each other and stuff like that. You have to teach your child how not to make that decision, or if they might have an urge to bite somebody, they need to understand that over time, like, you cannot be out here biting people. Like, you got to learn how to control your impulses or control yourself. And if you don't know how to control your impulses or control yourself, then that leads to different type of behavioral therapies, that leads to different types of things that you can learn how to be better. And or they might have I don't want to use the word disability, or they might have just different ways of living that they might, or like, say for instance, somebody who can't not say inappropriate things at certain times, that might have Tourette syndrome or stuff like that. Like, it's different. It's very different levels to, again, like, decision making. Like, some people, again, with your mind, if you have attention deficit, or you might have again, like, just behavioral things, that person might not be able to listen to the social cues or make decisions in the way that the next person is. But when it comes to self-support, again, if you are an adult who needs a little bit more support, then you got to go out and find it. And it might be tough, but imagine how easy your life will be when you understand, like, there's I don't want to, I was about to call her a vlogger, but there are two social media influencers that I know for sure, like, that I watch because I watch them, but that I know for sure have dealt with mental illness and are moving towards their mental health. And one of them talked about how she took medication at one point for her depression and anxiety. And then there's another one who talks about who I think hers is about the same thing. One was so long ago, and she said that she got to a point where she doesn't have to take her medication. And sometimes you have to get into all of these things so that you can open up your mind and calm down to things. If you have a lot of negative thoughts, so all of that impacts your decision making. So they talk about prioritizing important decisions and automating small ones. So that means, like, when you prioritize a big decision, of course you got to think into it, weigh your pros and cons. And I love that they I forgot the word, but I forgot the exact word, but the same TikTok philosopher, but he was talking about making a list. Like, if you feel guilty, or if you feel like you shouldn't have done something, get yourself a list of reasons why you did. Because a lot of times we will, he talks about you're a kind person if you feel guilty often, but not in the way of being guilty, you actually doing something. Because if you really do something with and intentionally, sometimes you don't feel guilty. But they talk about, like, maybe hurting somebody's feelings or being in a way, but you have to list and give yourself credit if you are someone who is working towards feeling better about these things, feeling better about your decision making, feeling better about standing up for yourself. That's a huge thing, standing up for yourself. That's a big part of decision making. It's saying what you want, or saying what you need, or, like, even something as simple as the conversation going back and forth of what you want for dinner, what you want to eat. And it's just like, sometimes, of course, it's like nonsensical, because it's like, we can eat whatever. But it's like, you might have had something in mind, or you might have had an idea or something that you wanted to eat, and you didn't even say that you wanted to eat it. And now we eating Taco Bell, and or McDonald's, and who really want to, eat that? I do like a little beforehand. I did like a little Taco Bell, but nowadays I don't think I eat it like that. But it's still saying, like, you're eating something, or you're somewhere where you didn't want to be, because you allow either life or someone else to make the decision for you. So, and you can't be upset if you are in a space where you allow someone else to make a decision for you. I'm not gonna say you can't be upset, but it's kind of like, okay, well, you had the opportunity to make it better. So what we talking about here? And that's the kind of things when we talk about really getting into reality and out of, I don't want to say our delusion, but what can you do with what you have? Like, that's one of my favorite questions to ask myself. What can I do with what I have? And just, like, making small decisions so that you can move forward is going to be a huge thing. So I'm going to go back to there's a rule. So it's called the 10-10-10 rule. So it's, how will this decision matter to me in 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years? How will this decision impact me in this time? you do know. And it helps you take a step back and think long term, and also avoids impulsive choices that might not serve your future self. So, for example, if you are someone who's trying to fight addiction, well, not necessarily because you don't really want to fight, you want to just work with it. If you have a addiction, it's like when you make a decision, every single time you choose to pick up or ingest whatever your vice is, it's like, I don't know if, and sometimes some people it's not a vice. So this is not for people who don't have this conversation. Or this part is not for people who don't have an addiction. And to understand what an addiction is, let me go ahead and give you the the textbook version, the textbook meaning of it. So, the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance or thing. So, actually being addicted is physically and mentally dependent on a particular substance and unable to stop taking it without incurring adverse effects. So, when they talk about incurring adverse effects, it means being subject to something or your own behavior. So, say for instance, alcoholic, someone, drug, whatever addiction is that you continue to consume this thing, and that's another different type of help that you can get. But that's also it's within your mindset, it's within your body chemistry, all of those things, because your body. Hold up, okay. Because I'm like, I was checking my Wi-Fi. But your body, once you start consuming things, it alters the chemistry of your body. It alters the chemistry within your mind. Like if you high all the time, like how does that affect your decisions? How does it affect you reaching your goals? If you're drunk all the time, how does it? Because then you think about what does being drunk and high do to your body. Sometimes, well, a lot of the time, might make you calm down, it might make you aggressive, but it heightens and lowers certain things like your cognitive abilities. That's what it lowers, your cognitive abilities for you to be able to make your decision making, to make good decisions. Think about how many times you might have, hit that bottle maybe once, one or too many times too much, and you are completely out of it. You don't even know, or like you might have got into an argument with your friend about something. That's again decision making straight from the beginning. When you first started taking that substance and you realize, okay, I'm not feeling like myself, but it might feel good. And that's the feel good comes from escaping. It comes from not being in reality. It comes from not being here. And life does not have to be hard if you give yourself the opportunity to make decisions that fill you up. Like this, for instance, this is my first video of 2025. And I really want to expand everything goes. I really want to speak to more people. Really want to encourage more people to be better and do better. And it's like I have made plenty of decisions to not get on camera. I have so many PowerPoints. I have so much information, especially in this noggin because I have it. But again, I have made a decision to commit majority of my time to things that at this point I realized this might not necessarily be for me. But the decision that I can make right now is that, okay, I've already taken this responsibility and I really do want to do everything, girls. So how can I do it? Like right now, it's Saturday, February 15th at 4:05. I've been recording for about 20 minutes now. So at 3 something today, I really made the decision to sit down in front of my computer and deliver this information. So for you, I know this is switch from addiction, but it's just talking about from the root of it. It's like from the root of whatever you do, you have to make a decision to impact your life in a positive way. Now, if you party and if you drink, and that's why I explain addiction, because if you are having a party, if you having a drink, or if you're doing your do, that's you for that time. But when you overindulge or you decide I'm going to have a drink every day or I'm going to do this every single day. That's when you have to see in your decision making what's going on. But that also goes into what other level, what else are you dealing with? Are you sad? Are you not happy with your work? Are you not happy with your relationships? Are you not happy with, I don't know, yourself? Are you not happy with yourself? Then that's a whole different thing, because that's the question that I talked about in the beginning. Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of what you're doing? Are you proud of how you are showing up in the world? And if not, that's okay, because you do still have time to change it. You have an opportunity to change it. And that's the beautiful thing about self-support and about just encouraging yourself and loving yourself and having that energy that comes straight from you. And I've had to learn that for myself as well, to say like, I love myself so much, or I care about myself so much, that I'm going to be diligent and afraid of nothing. Shout out to Audrey Lord. But be diligent and afraid of nothing. When are you going to decide? Again, the decision. When are you going to decide that you want better for yourself? And even if you are in a space that you want better for yourself, decide every single day to get up and do better and do better and do better and do better every day. Like me, I've been talking about this since the beginning of me working with self-support. I did a self-support video on my I think on my other channel back in like 2018, or maybe it was 2020. Maybe it was because I was bald headed. So I think it was 2020, where I was talking about self-support, and I already knew. I've been talking about this stuff since I was a little girl. I've had a group when I was at my Boys and Girls Club called Rebirth Yourself, where I was okay. That I needed to say that because that was for me. To bring that up. Wow. It was called Rebirth Yourself, where we would have different conversations. And I was trying to see if I had the one of the little business cards over here where I would talk about it with my friends, and we did poetry, and we did open mics, we did let them speak, we let them bring art, whatever, or we just talked about whatever was going on with us. And I knew that we needed that. Even when I was like 14, 15, when I did a speech competition, I talked about encouraging people. So it's like, you have to look back into your life and see what you have always been interested in, and bring it into your adulthood, bring it into your life, bring it into your space where you don't give up on yourself, or don't give up on that piece of yourself that has always been there. Me as well, creativity. I just have a big brain. Like I just have a big brain and interested in so many different things. And it's like, give yourself an opportunity to be in those different things. And if you have children, again, you have children, you have different types of responsibilities. Plan for your good. Plan for yourself. Put that energy in the same way that you take them kids to whatever they got to go to. Make sure they get to school. And then that's another thing. If you have a child, and it's so important. I don't take parenthood lightly. I'm not a parent, and I'm not a parent for a reason, because I'm not ready to be a parent. So it's just and I even take getting with other people. I take it very seriously, because I see I was a child before, and I see what it is now, and it's like it takes so much to bring life into this world, and it takes so much to keep life and keep positivity into that child and bring positive things into your life. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like, like this, like speaking to people. Only certain people want to do stuff like this. Like it doesn't take being on the computer, or it doesn't take being in front of other people. If you want to have like a soccer camp, that's impactful. If you want to have, I don't know, you don't even have to do anything. If you want to be a janitor and make sure that the building is clean, and make sure that the kids or whatever establishment has a nice, beautiful space to be in, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, and be the motherfucking best that you can be at whatever you choose to do. It's just your thing. If you're gonna be a mail carrier, you be the best damn mail carrier out there. If you want to be a bus driver, you be the best bus driver out there. You make conscious decisions in order to get yourself where you want to go. And if you have to make a decision to cut back on some things, and that's just what it is. And follow your guidance, follow your intuition, follow what is being brought directly into this. But again, if you have different substances, or if you are clouded by anger, you're clouded by fear, you're clouded by judgment of other people, you have to work through that stuff before you can decide to do other things. And you could kind of try to do them in tandem, but you will see that what you actually want to do, like this, I know that right now I am ready to deliver and be with the everything grows. I had the idea, and that might be sometimes where you might have the idea, and you might bring a little bit and bring a little bit and bring a little glimmer until it's ready to be a full-fledged thing. And then you're ready. So I do want to get to the rest of my I think I've talked about a lot of this stuff. So yes, weighing the pros and cons before making the choice. Consider the potential benefits and the consequences. So ask yourself, does this align with my values and goals? Does it align with what you get? A time and a place for everything. And next, overcoming fear in decision making. Fear of failure can cause hesitation. We talked about that. We did. I'm just making sure I get through all my points that I actually talked about it. I like that. Reframe failure as a feedback for growth. These are all my little notes, but I didn't even look at them while I was talking. And action beats overthinking. Start with something. Start with small, calculated steps, as we've talked about before. Like, don't be hesitant. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't give into that energy of like, nah, I can't do this, or what somebody else might have said about what you can do. Like, these, only you, only you, only you, only you can tell yourself what you can do. Only you know what you're capable of. But also, only you can be really honest with yourself and say, maybe I don't really want to do this. Like, a lot of times we just do stuff just because. Like, choose to do things for a reason. Be intentional in every decision that you make. So, the role of intuition in your decision making, we talked about that when I put my hand right into my head. Trust your gut and be able to move with logic. Be logical. Does it make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, do your very best to move away from it. Experience and past lessons, guide instincts. So what you've been through before, don't, when you see again what they say, that red flag, I wish I had something red to wave right now. But when they talk about red flags, when they talk about what people, you've seen it before. You've seen it from the beginning. I cannot, I'm like, people that I have dealt with in the past, let's put it like that, I saw the signs. I'll be very let me I was about to be too, I don't think it's nothing but too honest. I saw in a situation that I was in what came months later. I'll be so honest. My ex-boyfriend, I used to call his close friend. I used to be like, "Oh, that's your girlfriend. That's your girlfriend. That's your girlfriend. That's your girlfriend," because I saw that there was different things that he would do for her that he did not do for me. And I was like, "Oh, okay, like that's your girlfriend." And months after, and that's the power of the tongue. But months after that, maybe not even a year after we decided to break up, that was his fiance. So that's what I mean by like decision making and all of those other things. Like, when you feel like something is not right, and this for my ladies, when you feel like something is not right, or you feel like it's getting sticky, you need to do your thing and get on. I've had my own space. Again, like they say, have your own. Be able to take care of yourself. Because why not? Doesn't it feel good to take care of yourself? Doesn't it feel good to be able to do whatever you want to do or have whatever you want to have within your means, of course? But it feels good. And if you want more, do better so that you can have it. But listen to the signs. So, when in doubt, seek advice. That's another part. You can seek advice when in doubt. When you really, really, really don't know, but from somebody that you trust, a mentor that you trust. Don't go around asking nobody who you don't want your life to look like this for any of their advice. Don't go around and be talking to people where you like, this person, like, if you don't really think that they are that smart, why would you ask them for advice? Or just because somebody is elder in your family or something like that, it's not always that's the best option for advice. It's not. It's not. It's not. And they, as much as some people might want to think more of themselves, they just might not know. So if you know at least like, okay, they done made some great changes in their life, or done, I keep on saying, I'm getting a little too comfortable. So it's time to close it out. So, decision making in your daily life. So career, they talk about I talk about choosing the right job path. For relationships, they talk about setting boundaries and choosing healthy connections. And when we talk about career, I want to take this time to say, do not make decisions out of desperation. You have time. Even when you don't think you have time to make a decision. And when you're procrastinating and you already know, 9 times out of 10, you already know what's going on. You already know what kind of decision you want to make. But your inability to push yourself and say, make it is a lot of times what's holding you back. So do your best to start from the beginning. Or like if you get a new job and you know when you went on that interview or when you went in that space and you did your first tour, you said, something's in here not right. Something in there is not right. The signs are on the walls, y'all. The signs are on the walls. And you could always, as they say, hindsight is 2020. You can look back and be like, I should not have been there. So again, with your health, this is the last point before I conclude. Making intentional lifestyle choices for your well-being. How do you eat? How do you sleep? How do you plan out your days? Are you a person like, oh my goodness, if you are a person who does not like to work at night, why are you working at night? If you are a person who don't like to work on the weekend, why are you working on the weekend? And don't fill yourself up with so many excuses on why you're doing stuff that you don't even want to do. Don't do that, because then it leads to more excuses, or it leads to more time, it leads to more pain or more frustration. So for example, there is no example, because y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. This is for my people that need to hear it. So to conclude everything out, every decision is an opportunity to grow. Everything grows. So start making mindful decisions today and take one action step and apply a strategy from this presentation. Apply it. Again, being intentional, setting boundaries. If you need to journal, if you need to have mindfulness, staying present and avoiding like emotional reactions. And I like to call that speaking the facts. Listen to the facts, or deal with the facts. Deal with the facts of what you have going on right now. Don't sit around and piss yourself off, for lack of better words, and set deadlines. Avoid the analysis paralysis by committing to a time frame. So for me, I said this year I'm going to be on my stuff. So I'm on it. And I do need to really get an actual schedule, but even just saying like, okay, I have Saturday free. Let me go ahead and jump on my computer and get a message out that I've already had waiting for me or for somebody else. So, yep, again, we talked about career, fear, failure. Okay, I have made all of my points. So, I do want to just close it out with just sending more positive energy to y'all. Please comment down below if you have anything that you would like me to chat about, any topics that I can do my research, and I also have a lot of already done research in this brain. So I love just talking about things. If you are not sure about different relationships, or if maybe you want to ask me a question, I'll put all of my information down below so that we could chat and we could, get to know each other and build this community. But I'm so grateful for everybody who takes the time to listen, and I just send more encouragement to everybody and it's not even, I just send love because I'm trying to get that information for we can feel better, so that we can feel better. And I just hope that you feel better through these conversations. So keep growing, friends. I'll talk to y'all later.